Hello there, this is the Shadow Ranger, and I am back with my review of TNA Final Resolution 2010. This won't be as so much a big review of the matches, just a couple thoughts on the matches and some thoughts on where they may go from here with some of the storylines. We started off with Beer Money versus Ink Inc. Overall, this was a good paced match. It was a good opening for the pay-per-view. The crowd seemed to be into both teams. Both teams looked very good. Bear Money wins, as like I expected it to. Now, since it's connected to the title match, I'm gonna skip and do the title match next, the tag title match. Guns versus Jin Mi. It was a fun spot fest. If you like spot fest, you'll love this match. I'm not so big on spot fest. I like them a little bit. I'm just not as much into them as other people are. I know a lot of people think X Division style matches should always be just a big spot fest. I'm not really into the whole giant spot fest thing. I enjoy a spot fest from time to time, but not as much as other people do. I wonder from this match, since Full Metal Mayhem is basically TNA's version of a TLC match, and seeing as WWE has their TLC pay-per-view this year, I wonder if this was sort of TNA trying to say, we could do a TLC match better than you. Consider that the Thanksgiving episode, they did an elimination tag match, which is traditionally done done on Survivor Series. Just a thought. Guns retained the title, so we're getting the Guns versus Beer Money one more time. That's a match I want to see. I think a lot of people want to see that match. I just wonder if they can do something that will live up to the Best of 5 series that they had a few months ago. Mickie James versus Tara. These two women beat the hell out of each other all over the freaking building. It was exactly what we expected it to be. It was fun to watch. It was a really great match. I'm surprised that Tara won. I really expected Mickie to win and then move right into her feud with Madison. I'm hoping that they don't drop the Tara Mickie James feud and just move right into Mickie versus Madison. I think there's more to be done with Mickie James and Tara, and I'd like to see more of it. Let's see. Just some thoughts on what they could do if they do want to continue with Mickie and Tara. That's what I prefer to see. They could go with maybe a cage match next, or since Mickey's doing the country girl gimmick, maybe have like a bull rope match, or maybe even last woman standing. I haven't seen one of those. Plus, there's plenty of other women to go after Madison for the title. They've been building up some stuff with Sarita. Of course, like I said before, I'd like to see Taylor Wilde do it, but there's examples. You can do more. You don't have to jump full towards Mickie getting that belt so soon. I really think there's a lot to be done with Mickie without her being the champion, and I still worry that they're gonna rush and try to put that belt on Mickie as soon as possible when she doesn't need the belt. Robbie E versus Jay Lethal. Cookie finds a way to interfere even though she was in the cage. It was creative, kind of a little bit predictable. Main story is that we got the return of Short Boy in this match, and oddly he was still over. He still seemed to be over with the crowd even after being gone for so long. I wouldn't mind seeing a Sharp Boy versus Robbie E feud. I mean, they set it up with him throwing Cookie in the cage and then giving her the stunner at the end of the match. It could be a short-term sort of comedy feud. And with that being said, partial rant time. Something about the IWC that I don't like is this idea that everything in wrestling now has to be real and serious and attitude and all that stuff. It's like people just seem to hate anytime wrestling wants to do anything fun or anything funny, and people always jump up and say that wrestling has to be more serious and look like a and like seriousness is why MMA has taken some of the wrestling fans, and that wrestling has to be like more like MMA to get those fans back. And I continue to say that doesn't make sense, because if wrestling is like MMA, then there's no reason for anyone to watch wrestling anymore. I mean, why would I watch a fake MMA when I can just watch real MMA? You can do funny stuff in wrestling and have fun with it. So I really wouldn't mind. I think I'd be into a funny feud of Robbie E and Sharp Boy. I mean, Robbie E is pretty much a comedic character anyway. And I think you could do some good funny stuff that people would be into with those two characters. Let that be like the one PG section of TNA. I know everybody likes to hate about WWE being PG, but I personally think that TNA would benefit from being a little bit PG. The whole show doesn't have to be, but you can have one PG part. Let the X Division be the PG part of the show. Let them have the funny and colorful characters. It doesn't, people always just so much hate about the X Division since Robbie E won the title, like this weird idea that the X Division is not allowed to change. It doesn't always have to be Amazing Red and high spots and stuff all the time. You can do different things with the belt. If it just stays the same all the time, it just gets boring and stagnant. Do different things. The X Division, just because Robbie E won the title and he's not a high flyer, does not mean that the X Division is dead. The X Division is alive and well. You have two young guys feuding up. I'll reiterate what I had to say about Robbie E. This is the stuff that everybody always says they want TNA to do, but when they do it, people complain anyway. Robbie E, he's not an ex-WWE guy. He's not in his 40s, and he's feuding with another young guy over the X Division title. They're not just putting the X Division title in a stupid spot fest schmoz with 8 or 9 people every month like they used to do, and everybody complained about that. They actually have 2 people having a legitimate feud over the X Division title. And I do not see why everybody constantly complains about Robbie E being champion. He's a heel champion. He uses heel tactics to keep the belt, and Jay Lethal, the babyface, is trying to get the belt back. Alright, partial rant over. If they do go with Sharp Boy feuding with Robbie E or doing a short program with Robbie E, they could, transfer Lethal into some other programs. There's some other things Jay Lethal could do on the show. If Pope is going to be gone after losing his match, then maybe Lethal could do something against Abyss, or he could do something with Flair and Fortune again. That was always good stuff. If they continue with the Jay Lethal versus Robbie E feud, then they could bring in a woman to pair up with Jay. About 3-4 weeks back on Reaction, Lethal talked about, he might have to get a woman to back him up to stop Cookie from interfering. Not sure who that woman might be, but maybe he could get Taylor Wilde and Hamada to help him keep her at bay to get them back on TV, and you can use that to transition into some type of someone feuding with them for the tag team for the women's tag titles. I also thought of him bringing somebody scary in. They don't really. I don't know how TNA's relationship with Awesome Kong is at this time, but somebody who was on the radar a couple months ago that could work is Isis the Amazon. She was supposed to be Vicky Guerrero's pro on NXT. Aloysia, she's the really tall blonde. She's like 6'9", and I could see her coming out as like Jay Lethal's backup and just like scaring the crap out of Cookie a bunch of times. Like Cookie tries to interfere and Isis just grabs her and choke slams her or something. I think some people would be into that. I would be too. Now they cannot go either route and just transition, bring Sharp Boy back and just leave him back off TV again, and also transition Jay Lethal into a feud with someone else. I think we could get something good out of a new feud with Robbie E. Maybe Robbie E versus Brian Kendrick. That's a program I wouldn't mind seeing. Rob Van Dam versus Rhino First Blood match. RVD wins. I do not care. Doug Williams versus AJ Styles. You do not need me to tell you how good this match was. It's AJ Styles and Doug Williams. Even if you didn't watch the match, I think you could just use your imagination and see how good it, and think of how good it was. I'm hoping that I'm hoping Doug is more of a fighting champion than AJ was. Seeing as he's a face champion, you can build it up. Just have Immortal throw a different heel at him every week and make him defend the title every week, since it is a TV title. I hope that losing the belt is the first part of turning AJ face again. I've just never been sold on him as this heel. I just don't think it works. From the moment he turned heel, I've been trying to think of storylines to turn him face again. I just don't like seeing AJ's face. It just does not work for me. I hope that maybe like on Impact he's getting ready to riot act by the rest of Fortune, and this eventually leads to them either kicking him out or him leaving or turning on them or something. Cause I see Jeff Hardy being world champion till probably Slammiversary, and I think AJ would be the perfect person to turn face, rebuild him back up, and have him be the one who takes that belt from Jeff Hardy. I mean, if that belt represents, taking that belt from Jeff Hardy represents saving TNA from the evil grip of Immortal. And who better to do it? I mean, you ask TNA fans who they want to see take down Jeff Hardy and take that world title back and take down Immortal. I think most of them would say AJ Styles. That's who I want to see be the guy who does it. Pope versus Abyss. Oddly, there was no funny business in this match. Abyss won clean. There was no weird overbooking, no outside interference, nothing. Which is kind of weird. I was expecting something weird to happen in this match, and I'm kind of disappointed that nothing happened. Abyss just beat Pope. Now, I'll be honest, I have no idea where they're going to go with Pope and Abyss from this point on. I was thinking about this. I got nothing. It was weird. Samoa Joe versus Jeff Jarrett. Like Pope and Abyss, I wasn't too into this match. The only part I see that's gonna be relevant to the story is the fact that Joe didn't tap out. You know, it was just weird. You did not hear Joe was screaming, but make it very clear. Go back and watch it. He didn't say I quit. He didn't say I give up. He did not tap out. And I think that's going to be relevant to the story going forward. I hope that just wasn't just the ref made a mistake or messed up the call and they were supposed to do something different. But he didn't. He wasn't unconscious. He didn't say I quit. He didn't say I give up. He didn't tap out. So just keep that in mind as this goes. I still want to see Joe destroy Jarrett and all his cronies when this is over. Hoping that's what happens. Kurt Angle's supposed to be coming back for Genesis, so maybe he'll face Jeff Jarrett or something. I don't know. Matt Morgan versus Jeff Hardy for the world title. It was a decent match. I was wrong. They did not have Jackson James screw Matt Morgan out of the win. They just made him call the match after Anderson got taken out. So Anderson didn't turn heel, and Jackson James didn't reveal himself to be like a personal referee. I'm still thinking they may go that angle down the line where it's like, you know, he did that on purpose to make it like an accident. He was working for Immortal all the time. But if they're going to do that, I'd rather they just do it outright. Just say he's our personal referee. He will referee all of Jeff Hardy's matches and kind of have him just kind of be a crooked ref. And I know what people are going to say when I say that, oh, I'm just copying the Nick Patrick NWO thing. Yeah. Nick Patrick was the crooked ref that just cheated for the NWO and everything. So what? It works. It will work for the storyline. I think it would be a good idea. Pretty sure that next month we're going to get the Anderson versus Hardy title match that we're supposed to get in November. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Overall, this was a good show. Not great, just good. I didn't like everything that happened storyline wise, but I am interested in seeing where everything goes from this point, except the stuff involving EV2. So I'm almost out of time. Those are my thoughts on the pay-per-view. Hope you enjoy watching. See you all later and goodbye.